He hasn't come yet. All right. So you can't sit there. I'll get a sore neck. Come over here.
Introduction.
No, forget introduction.
Well,
I mean, we all know each other already. I'm sure we all know each other, don't we?
Okay.
We know each other.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shiva.
Okay.
You're so kind. And we know each other online.
Well, just welcome and Happy New Year to everybody, and thank you for coming.
That's right. Happy New Year. Happy New Year of the horse. Isn't it the horse or something?
Yes, year of the fire.
The year of the fire horse. I don't know what that means. Okay. Soon we'll have chai, enough for 20 people. And soon we'll have dumplings. We'll pretend they're momos. Added, followed up by a grape and an orange. Thank you, Sheila. Okay. What am I supposed to talk about?
Oh, yes.
Really? Is that what you came for?
Anything.
Anything, okay.
Lama Yeshe.
Okay. We did it this morning for Tashita in Delhi, in Dharamsala. Yeah.
Oh,
So, I mean, okay, well, maybe that's what the point is. If we're going to talk about Lama Yeshe, the point is talking about why you need a teacher, because he was my teacher. So, and why he was so, I mean, as a human being, he functioned, okay, he was a Tibetan man, did this and that, but he functioned as a teacher. So then that's really the thing, to look at his qualities and why his qualities were so special and why we need that. I mean, I think it's kind of fairly clear, really, as I said this morning, you know, to the people in India. I mean, we speak in religious terms and spiritual terms, especially Buddhists, they talk about gurus and all this, you know, we kind of, it sounds very medieval or kind of strange, and it's not a thing we think in our lives. Like one of the commonest questions people ask, have for years, I've noticed in spiritual terms, is why do we need a teacher? We say like that, you know. But I think if you're going to learn music and you want to become like Bach, and you're going to go and play tennis and be like Federer, I don't think anybody would ever ask, oh, do I need a coach? Do I need a teacher? You'd never ask that, because you know perfectly well you do. So why we think it's different, we should look at why we think it's different when it comes to what we call spiritual. I think the first one is because we don't think it's a method. I think as soon as we hear spiritual, we think meditation. And as soon as we hear meditation, we think kind of there's something mysterious in here that we have to sort of, this Buddha has to come out somehow, and it's all there. And we think it's kind of, we mystify it. We make it almost like, I mean, we simplify it in the most simplistic way, appalling way, actually. Because I suppose, I don't know, maybe in mirrors, and mostly maybe, I don't know, I mean, when you look at mathematics, you see a path. It's very clear. You see the result. Tennis, the same. You see it, and it's very logical steps to become the best tennis player, to become the best mathematician, to become a physicist or whatever, or a musician. But I think when it comes to spiritual, we're not quite sure what it looks like, what it's meant to look like, the end result, you know. And then we hear the word Buddha, and we think of a man sitting on a lotus with curly hair. We don't quite know what that means. So it's a bit all mystical looking, you know. Now, if we're Christian, I suppose, I don't know, what do we think there? We'd think we'd want to be with God in heaven, isn't it? I remember one time these Lutherans were in Kathmandu, and they came to the center when I was based there. And they wanted to know about Buddhism because they came as tourists. So they wanted to know, you know, and I talked about the bodhisattva goal to perfect, you know, your compassion and wisdom, so that then you could effortlessly come back again and again and again to be of benefit to others. And this fellow, he was so straightforward. He said, oh, no, he said, no way do I want that. He said, I want to go to heaven to be with God. Now, I'm not complaining. You understand? But it was the most horrible idea for him. He didn't want to know about how boring, you know. So, or even if you hear the Buddhist one, you want to become a bodhisattva to benefit others. I mean, it sounds lovely and noble, but I mean, how exhausting can it get? We know how hard it is to help even one person, how tiring it is. So it's hard to get your head around it. You know, it's hard to get your head around the goal. It doesn't seem very tangible. So even if you don't want to become Federer, Maybe you just want to play good tennis, be a tennis player Sundays, you know. Still you need a good teacher. Otherwise, it's clear, you know. So what is it we're talking here? Well, I mean, with the Buddhist view, as we know, as we've heard often enough, is, you know, that we've got this mind, consciousness, and it has this extraordinary potential. And that's the essence, really. It's such a simple concept, but and it sort of, it doesn't sound surprising, but in a way it's quite shocking. It is surprising. And that's what Buddha deals with. And that's where already it sounds nice, because it's not mystical. There's not some mysterious part called a soul. Because no, I don't think the system's mapped out to perfect your soul. I'm not sure if they say like that in the Christians and the Muslims. With the Buddhist one, you start with your mind. It is always only your mind. That brings it down to earth. So of course you've got to look at the Buddhist view of the mind. We're not talking about perfecting the brain. You're not getting anything with a scalpel and carving it into a nice brain. We're talking about your thoughts and feelings and emotions, you know. And the Buddha's deal is that we can lessen the rubbish ones, the ones that causes pain, and grow the good ones. That's the essence. And then, of course, the final goal is you can completely get rid of the rubbish ones and completely perfect the good ones. Speaking simply. Now, that sounds tangible. That sounds to me manageable. And I don't know, I think that sounds quite encouraging. So if that's true, then maybe you could say, well, why do I want a teacher for that? It's true, isn't it? I mean, we can all see that. I mean, if I talk to my sister Julie, who's never, as always joke about it, we've never, among the 7 of us in our family, we talk about how we see things differently. And I was always one who thought about God and went to mass and wanted to be like God and all that. And my other Julie never thought of it once, never cared. She never thought ever once. She said she never had a single thought about, you know, is there heaven? Is there God? Is there not? Is there reincarnation? It doesn't interest her. She has not the slightest interest, never even asks those questions, couldn't care less. But she wants to be a good person, you know. She wants to be a good person. She appreciates virtue and goodness and doesn't want to lie, steal, and kill. And I suppose if you think of it that way, that's what's suitable to the West, isn't it? I mean, as Dalai Lama says, it's secular, you know, it's a secular approach. And that is the essence of the Buddhist approach. Okay, it might talk about reincarnation, things that look religious, but that's the essence of it. It's good ethics. All the Buddhist psychology is rooted in good ethics, you know. So that's appealing. Then I suppose in the West, the problem is we don't have methods. We don't have techniques for becoming very familiar with the mind. And anybody who does stuff that's called that, it's usually coming from the East, you know. They've come from, I mean, you've got to track them back to the Indians. Japanese track themselves back to the Buddhas, you know. Japan was the first place that the Buddhists went, I think, after India, like 4th century or something. They all track themselves back to the Indians. And they're the ones who, you could say, with respect, who discovered the mind by developing this amazing technique called single-pointed concentration. Because from their perspective, the mind is internal. It is not something physical you can point to. You can point to your brain, but that for me is just the physical indicator of what's going on in your internal, subjective, cognitive process. So that's the job, to become familiar with that in a very intimate way. So Lama Yeshe, I mean, when I first heard these teachings in the mid-70s, it had been like 20, 50, 60, 20 years since they'd come out of Tibet. 20-something, 5 years. And really, when you really look at it carefully, you realize that Tibet, actually it was, you know, 1950s, but they were really in the 14th century. Because the way because Buddhism was completely intact. The whole system of Buddhism that started in the 7th century in India, in Tibet, was completely intact, you know. So when you heard the teachings in Tibet in the 1950, 55, before they all had to escape, It was exactly the way they spoke in the 14th century. It was exactly the way they spoke in the 7th century. They used the same language, the same text, the same structures. I mean, they had a language, especially, Tibetans created a philosophical language. They created it just for the teachings to translate from Sanskrit, you know. So it's like 7th century. It's like talking like them, you know, it's talking like Chaucer. And the constructs were the same as in India 1,000 years before that. They hadn't changed. Nothing wrong with that. So when I first heard the teachings, Lama Zopa talked like that. So then Lama Yeshe, the thing that was remarkable about Lama Yeshe, and it's still amazing when I compare with many of the Tibetans, the Lamas now who speak English, still the same. He was back in there was no precedent for him. He spoke as if he was a modern hippie. I joke and say he was really like a hippie pretending to be a Tibetan, because he understood the modern mind. And that's the skill of being a Buddhist. If you do this job properly, the way the Buddhism describes it, you have incredibly sophisticated understanding of your own mind. And you've done the job. He would have done the job on his mind that Buddha would say we can do, which is lessen the neuroses and grow the goodness. So that process is what brings incredible insight, incredible intuitive wisdom about other people, you know, about other people's human minds. So he was able to intuit the way modern minds work. Because the Buddha's view is the model of the mind, it doesn't even just refer to humans, it refers to animals as well. It's a completely universal view of the mind, which is quite unusual. And as we know from all our discussions, you've got deluded, neurotic, I-based, fear-based states of mind, and you've got valid, virtuous, appropriate, useful states of mind. And these words are simple, but that's not the way we talk in the West at all. This is the Buddhist view. And so when we understand it and see it, when you've got that down, when you've accomplished this and lessened the neuroses and grown the goodness, you've developed just naturally incredibly clear wisdom. Wisdom meaning that you can see others like we're naked. To people like that, we're naked. Because their minds are so clear. Their minds are so, you could say that is what intelligence is. It's emotional wisdom, but it's intelligence. That's what intelligence is. When you can see the minds of others nakedly, even by their behavior. And that's eventually becomes clairvoyance even, because the minds can be so sophisticated. So Lama just had this ability, just by talking to modern people, by hearing, you can see nakedly, you know, you can see their minds, you can see the attachment and their fears and their dramas, you can see it. You might know the details about whether they're football players or tennis players, but you can see their mind, because what we say and do simply express our mind, aren't they? We don't realize that, but that's what they are. So Lama had this ability, and then because he learned to speak English, how kind of him, you know? He learned to speak English and to express things in this modern way, which is totally unusual. I mean, when I edit his teachings, you know, and he died in the 80s, he died in the mid-80s, only 10 years after I met him. His English was chaotic. He had no pride. I mean, I'm so arrogant. I remember one time I lived in different centers. I lived at our center in Germany for a year, and I went to German school. And my friend said, Robina, you have very beautiful German. You just don't have much of it. That's all. I was so proud. I didn't want to speak it because I didn't know how to say it properly, because I was proud, you know, to say the wrong thing. Do you understand me? Make mistakes. Lama just blur out. So his structure was kind of ridiculous, but he chose such incredible words. He learned. He just learned the right words. It was astonishing. And that's called wisdom. That's a human wisdom, you know, incredible. He had that ability. He had that ability, you know. I mean, Lama Zopa, he's got the same wisdom, but his aspect was very different. And he presented the Dharma in this very arcane, kind of typical arcane way. And I know when I first went to the very first teachings from both of them, I was there for like 2 months. I didn't have a clue what Lama Zopa was saying, because it's not because his words weren't right. It was this completely arcane construct. And the point is the words are understandable, but the reference points, the assumptions, the views that those words referred to were foreign to us. Because Lama was able to just speak in the most modern way. He spoke in a psychological way, you know. It was extraordinary. And I'm quite certain for myself that I'm not sure if I would have stayed if it hadn't been for Lama Yeshe, you know. I'm not sure. So if you want to learn tennis, you want to find a coach, a teacher whose really is, a manifestation of tennis, good tennis. But that's not enough, is it? They have to have this ability to see your tennis and your potential. And they have to also, that means they've got to have the ability to help you develop your tennis. And you've got to like them. You've got to feel close to that person, and that person has to want you to develop your tennis. You have to know that. You have to trust that. They might be the best tennis player on the planet, but if they're jealous and resentful of your good tennis, then they're not going to get the best out of you. So you have to like that person. You have to want to be like that person, and you have to trust that they want the best for you. I mean, that's pretty powerful. That's a very intense relationship. Do you understand me? It's incredible, actually. Because you can have the person who's got so much knowledge, but they can't pass it on. Or there's no personal connection there, I mean, there are lots of Tibetan lamas I've heard or met, but I don't feel the same way about them. I can know they've got the perfect knowledge and there's nothing wrong with it. I can take that. But you've got to have this particular personal connection, You've got to have this feeling, you've got to have this sense of their quality, and that they, in other words, they've got to really love you. They've got to really want you to be happy. That's what love means. In Buddhism, it's very clear. Love it's a virtue as opposed to a neurosis. It's not attachment. Our love is polluted by attachment right now. Attachment is I-based, needy, neurotic, emotionally hungry, manipulative, possessive. But love is this altruistic, virtuous, other-based state of mind that's defined as the thought, may you be happy. And then this powerful ability, that is saying in Lama Yeshe's case, in my case, had the means to help me get happy. And then compassion is empathy with my suffering. They're the essence of all the virtues, love and compassion. Love is may you be happy. Compassion is may you not suffer. And then, of course, being qualified, having all the ability to help me develop my own ability to be happy and stop suffering. What's the essence of the whole Buddhist path? So I have to trust that he wanted that for me. And that's a difficult one. Like this morning, we had a conversation and somebody said she's a Buddhist, but she's afraid to commit, she said, to a relationship. And I mean, that's reasonable. In our culture, we fall in love with people, but then we end up making a complete mess and get misused and abused because we don't have any wisdom, isn't it? We open our hearts to dumb people, and then we get abused and wonder why. So, I mean, it's sort of... So it really all comes from our side too, choosing a teacher. It's our job to do it. Lama Yeshe's done his job. He's qualified. Federer is qualified. He's there, twiddling his thumbs, waiting to be asked. Think of it that way. Do you understand me? Lama Yeshe is qualified. He's qualified. He can't force me. He can't force me to want to. I have to want it. So this is why the major job is mine. The major job was mine. I didn't know I wanted a teacher. I never thought of it. I was too proud. I never thought I wanted it. The word guru was a disgusting word to me. Remember when I was this radical feminist and we lived in this radical feminist commune, radical lesbian, separatist feminist commune, to be exact. And I remember one of the women, we lived in this commune in Melbourne, in Courtin, this big house. I remember a whole bunch of us. And one of the women, she was a bit weird. We thought she was a bit weird. And she lived under the stairs. There was a kind of a little cubby hole under the stairs. This was her room, She liked to live there. Anyway, she decided to go. She went off to Perth, which is the other side of Australia. It's the other side of the country, sort of like going from New York to Los Angeles. And she joined a Christian commune. I can't describe how we were so shocked. We were so, offended by this woman, that she would do such a terrible, absurd thing, I remember thinking this way. And why am I telling you this? Because, that's right. She'd found a guru. And it was like we just disgusted by her pathetic behavior, So when I myself, I was on, I wanted something spiritual again. And after 10 years of giving it up, I was a Catholic, became a bit of a hippie, a bit of radical lefty. all of that, very disliking spiritual, and then sort of felt I want something spiritual again. And then I bumped into these lamas. No, before that, I started looking. I started, what did I do first? I went back to Mass. That's right, I went back to Mass. That definitely didn't work. And then I found TM, Transcendental Meditation, you know. And I remember I paid my $80 for a mantra. I'm not being rude. That must have been about $5,000 now. It was in 1975 or something. And that wasn't enough. I wanted more than just a mantra. I knew that. Didn't know what I wanted. And I was doing martial arts. And then I finished that for whatever reason. And then I met the lamas. And I knew this is where I belonged. But it was difficult because it was very arcane. Lamas said all these weird words. I didn't understand what he was saying. I didn't understand what the path was. But then Lama Yeshe would come along. Lama Yeshe would come along, you know. In this male body, it was difficult for me. But I couldn't help it. But suddenly he made sense. He made sense. It was his words that made sense. So it was difficult for me, but I knew somehow. Anyway, in the end, went back home to Melbourne. I was in Australia. Went back to Melbourne, down south. That was like going from Queensland to Melbourne is like going from, we're pretty north, aren't we? You know, 2,000 miles, never mind, doesn't matter. It's not, whatever, doesn't matter. So then I came back to Melbourne. And I was still living with the radical lesbian separatist feminists and doing my practice every day and not sure where to go, what to do, where next or whatever. And then halfway through that year, I remember vividly, the penny dropped that Lama Yeshe was my guru. And I was shocked. I mean, I liked him. But I didn't say he's my guru. I didn't say those words. But I couldn't help but be super attracted to this person, you know. In fact, during the course, it was interesting. We did a Lamrim course with Lama Zopa. And that was difficult, but I sat there every single day, struggled with it. And then we did a retreat. And the option was to do a Tara retreat with a group of people, but not Lama, and then a Chenrezig retreat with Lama. Well, I liked Lama, but Chenrezig is male, right? And I wanted Tara. So I managed to kind of compromise, and I did the Chenrezig retreat, but I visualized him as Tara. I visualized him as a male, as a female, that's right. I visualized him as female. I remember that way. So I wanted Lama. Anyway, I mean, halfway through this next year, the penny dropped that he is my guru. I felt that. And I was a bit shocked, and I whispered to my sister Polly, I've got a guru, but don't tell anybody. Because, I mean, it's, yeah. So, I mean, people say, what does that mean? I know I say, oh, here's my guru. I mean, I honestly mean it's a bit like this. You've got to, it's like falling in love with somebody. I mean that I don't mean that in any weird way whatsoever. It's like, it is a bit like that insofar as you make this decision. Because I wanted the path. I wanted to become a Buddhist. I wanted to follow the Buddhist path. And it made sense to have a person who embodied that. And so it just happened, you know, and I decided he was the one. He was my tennis coach. So in a sense, you kind of fall in love with him a bit. And that's a good way to put it, because there's a closeness there. Of course, you know, but what I realized was, as Bonka Rinpoche says, choose your guru, choose your spiritual teacher, choose your tennis coach very carefully, because you're going to end up like them. And that's the crucial point about choosing, you know. So this woman this morning, oh, she was afraid to commit. And I hear that's very common with some people. They say like that. Or many people, like another person this morning, she said she's, you know, she talks about how do I find a teacher, blah, blah, blah. And I said, are you a Buddhist? And I said, how long have you been practicing? She said, 15 years. I said, well, have you ever? So then when I realized that, you know, that you have to want it. And I said that to her, you've got to want. You can't, it's like you're practicing yoga for 15 years and you still haven't decided what yoga system you like. Well, there's something's missing, don't you think? You've got to commit yourself. You can do yoga like that. I mean, there's 1,000 yoga schools and there's 1,000 variations. But if you're going to be more serious about yoga, that's what she said. Oh, I like all the Buddhism. But if you're going to be more serious about yoga, surely it means naturally, as you get more serious, you're going to narrow your options down, because one teacher might say, put your left foot this way, and then the other one says, put it that way. Well, you can't do both. So if you're really committed to yoga, it doesn't mean going to every teacher you can find and it's saying, I like yoga. It means you would go more and more, and you'd narrow down your options till eventually you go to just one. Doesn't that make sense? It makes complete sense, doesn't it? Tennis, yoga, cooking, boyfriends, it's just the same. Unless you want to marry 7 boyfriends, you can. I mean, maybe these days people don't mind. Yeah, and there's a lot to give yourself to 7 boyfriends. Like, frankly, I think some people manage. But in the, you get my point, you narrow down your options, you know. That doesn't mean the others aren't nice, but you narrow down your options. And it's the same with a spiritual teacher or a path. Now, when I wasn't looking for a teacher, I wasn't looking for a spiritual path. I know I was looking for a spiritual path, definitely. I don't know what shape it took. I knew nothing about Buddhism. But I happened to see, after I broke my foot from doing karate, and I had nothing else to do, and I saw this photo, this poster with a name Lama Yeshe on it. I mean, that was the connection. He was my connection. So I had to want it, and I did want it. I definitely wanted it. And then the penny dropped. And then I went back the next year, 6 months later, a year later, after I first met him, I went back the second year to the same center. And by this point had decided, you know, that he was my teacher. And I didn't know you're supposed to ask. And anyway, I informed him or whatever, you know. But the thing was, I did choose him. And that's the thing about choosing. You got to decide. You got to decide. You got to decide. You got to decide, you know. And that means I'm committing, isn't it? It means I'm going to commit. It means I'm going to commit. And that means I have to be confident. So if I'm committing, I've got to be confident that that's what that I want to be like him. That's the way to put it. And that was the point about Lama Yeshe. I understood it in those terms. It was very clear. Yes, I would like to be like him. Thank you. That's the best way to put it, you know. I want to be like him. Guaranteed. That's helpful. Not just, oh, you got to understand his qualities, you've got to check on his reputation, check on his students, all the things they say. But finally, you got to have confidence that you want to be like him, you know. And then, of course, the trouble starts. Then the hard work starts. I remember this about a teacher when I first did karate. When I came to New York, this is before that, doesn't matter the years, sounds silly talking about years, doesn't matter. It happened to be in 1974, and I was here and I was doing martial arts, and I was still a feminist, and I found a martial arts place downtown, opposite Dyke's Lumber. I remember that, opposite Dyke's Lumber, you know, it was this women's dojo. And I remember, and all these women living there. And I had a place on Christopher Street up in the village, 3 minutes from where I live now. And I mean, and I chose this place because it was feminist, and I wanted that, and that was fine. I wanted it for that reason. But in fact, the teacher wasn't very good, and I learned karate wrongly. I didn't know that. This is the thing about choosing a teacher. This is when I really learned about the necessity for a good teacher. I didn't know I learned wrongly. I had no idea. I had no reference point. I got other things from it. I was happy. It was women. I was happy about that. When I went back to Australia and found a place that taught the same style, and I was whatever belt I was, and I informed him when I went back. That's right. And it was a male teacher. It's okay. It doesn't matter. But I remember I went to, and I told him the belt I was. And after the first class, he came to me and said, "Sorry, Robina, you've got to go back to the white belts." Because I'd learned wrongly. I didn't know I had, but I was very offended. I was very upset. My pride was really offended, you know. And then I realized, that was when I realized the necessity for a teacher. So I'd chosen the wrong teacher. It was very powerful for my mind. It prepared me for Lama, you know. Choosing the right teacher was so important. It was so crucial to me to see that, the necessity for a good teacher. And then to commit. So this person said she's been practicing for 15 years and going to every class, all the kagupas, all the galupas. Nothing wrong with going to every studio in town for yoga. Marvelous to have an open mind, you know, it's wonderful, but it won't get you far. You got to dig deep in, you know, got to narrow down and dig in. So I didn't know I was looking for Buddhism even. I didn't know I was looking for, not to mention Gelugpa, not to mention Lama Yeshe, but I fell in their lap from day one, you know, which was most fortunate for me. But then this time I went back there, and then I told him he was my teacher. That's when the practice started. Because I I had basically given Lama Yeshe permission. And really, if you think about it, it's to show my mind. Give me teachings, but on a personal level, it means show me my mind. That's their job, not just to show you the teachings. Like Federer is there to show you tennis. Mr. Lee, my teacher, after that, when I did the karate, and then later on when I came in I did some kung fu in London, and I chose Mr. Lee very carefully this time. It was a kung fu style, different. And I saw what a good teacher he was. I saw he was a good teacher. So I chose him. And because I went to his classes 6 days a week, he could see I wanted his kung fu. So he took me seriously. Did we get tea? How wonderful.
Yes.
Well done. How are our, go and check with Sean when our dumplings are going to arrive. See what he says. And we can have chai and dumplings. I'm so excited. I'm hungry. So are we communicating here? I'm raving on. But I remember Mr. Lee was when I was a Buddhist. I did commit. I did check on him. I saw his class. I watched him with his kids. And I thought, wow, he's a good teacher. So I committed. I went 6 days a week. So Mr. Lee's not stupid. He sees I want his kung fu. So he pushes me to my limit. He would scream at me. Oh, so honored. Oh, Mr. Lee shouted at me today, I was one of these 3 students. We were the 3 musketeers, and one was 14, one was 19, and they didn't know I was a 42-year-old Buddhist nun. They didn't know I was a Buddhist nun, nor that I was 40. They knew I was slightly older. They didn't know. We go to all Mr. Lee's classes, We were the little we were the Mr. Lee's favorite students. What do you say?
Within half an hour.
What?
Within half an hour.
From to now, this minute, from now.
Yeah, they haven't even left the restaurant yet. He said anywhere between 15 minutes to half an hour.
They said that.
Yes.
They said that.
Yes.
Okay, so it could be 15. Okay, fine. Great. Good, fantastic. Let's have what is chai what form is it in a thermos?
It is hot. It's in 3 large cups. They don't have the containers.
But we should drink our tea before it gets
and
cold.
Then we'll just pour them into smaller cups and share it around.
Let's have tea then. Let's have tea while we're chatting.
All right.
Yeah, but fill up the cups. Don't have small, but make them auspicious. It's very auspicious to fill up the cups. Westerners just like to give you a half a cup of tea. I don't know why. Okay, are we communicating here?
Yes. Yes.
So Lama Yeshe, I knew I didn't want to meditate. I always joke about this. I thought meditation was boring. I didn't know what studying the philosophy meant, but I knew I wanted to see my mind. And somehow Lama knew that nakedly, clearly could know that. And from the first meeting with Lama, from the first meeting with him, he shook me. I could see my mind. He showed me my pride. And that's the point. The job of the Lama is to show you your mind. Okay, in different ways. So many ways. I hear different students, how they respond to their teachers in so many different ways. Bottom line is their job is to show you your mind. Federer's job is to show you how to play tennis, which means he's got to point out your mistakes sometimes, not just be sweet with you, And if you just come to tennis class once a week and you don't show much interest, he's not going to bother with you. But Mr. Lee could see I wanted his kung fu, so he treated me seriously. Get my point? He pushed me. So Lama Yeshe's saying, you could see I wanted, Fill up the cups. Give us an entire, full, completely generous cup of tea. It's auspicious. Unless there's not enough. Is there not enough tea? So maybe there's not going to be enough tea then. No. Is there enough tea for 20 people?
It should be. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes, we can make.
Okay, so it's auspicious to fill the cup up.
Okay.
That's almost full. That'll do. Not bad. Come on, get the tea. So then Lama Yeshe the same, So I didn't know I wanted to work on my mind. I really didn't know those words, but it was just so clear. And I did trust. I did really trust Lama. And it's so hard to say. When I think about these people, we're not talking tennis here or karate, we're talking wisdom and compassion, right? It's almost embarrassing to even say the words that Lama Yeshe loves me. It seems a bit weird, your boyfriend loves you, but your teacher loves you. Come on, give me a break. But if there's no delusion, if there's no delusions in his mind, there's no attachment, there's no jealousy, there's no anger, there's no pride, even just those. If you think a person doesn't have those, then what have they got left instead? love and wisdom and compassion and levels of it that we can't even imagine are possible. I can say those words, but then to think that I am the object of that, it's embarrassing. Do you understand me? That someone can love me that much, but they have to. It's logical. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
But it's not shown in the usual way we think of love. It's like it's full of attachment. It's all lovey-dovey and creepy crawly, and you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. That's the only love we know. Or even the mother's love, full of attachment. But to have love that's completely wise, that is not emotional, not sentimental, that's a bit scary because it's full of wisdom as well. Do you understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, who doesn't want a person like that in their life? You've got to be brave. They're not going to muck around with you. Do you understand? What do you think, people online? Are we communicating here? So maybe find someone who's got those qualities, and then whom we have to and then that's the heart. See, this is now the tricky part. Let's offer our tea. We've nearly almost got tea, have we? We've nearly almost got tea. We haven't blessed it yet. We're going to do a little blessing together. Okay? If you want, it's okay. Enjoy it. Are we all there? We've got tea, you too. Sheila got your tea. We're going to bless it first. Do a little blessing first. Together. We won't start until we all start together. So we think it's completely delicious nectar, okay? Not just a little cup of tea. And we also think all the kind of people who made it and then shopped it and all these things that happened. People who made the cup and everything. And it's this delicious stuff. And we think it is nectar. And we imagine full of the energy of all the Buddhas, oh mahung, oh mahung, oh mahung. And then we think we're going to offer it. We think of imagining all the suffering beings in the universe, may they, and then all the holy beings in the universe, and may we see them all experiencing the joy. We wish, if we could, we would offer to them. May they experience the joy of receiving this tea. And all you people online there, okay? Lama Sangye Lama Cherde Lama Gedonte Kongi Jeva Lama Te Lama Namla Chirpabul. And now we enjoy. Okay, let's see what it tastes like. Oh, it's all sweet and delicious. Wow. And nuts. We're having, okay. So are there any questions, any discussion points? Come on.
Well, I'm just, that just touched me so deeply in the heart when you explained
Okay.
that kind of love.
That's right. And that's, see, I think that because our minds are so limited, it's hard to imagine that level. It's sort of like hearing about the love of God. This is actually how they talk about God, isn't it? That kind of love. But it all sounds kind of holy and abstract in the sky, you know. But to have that in a human form, oh, look at this, dumplings. Our dumplings have arrived. You're going to have to imagine them all, okay? So just get us all, yeah, just whatever. Okay. So yeah, it's hard to imagine that. But this is where I find studying the teachings to show you the logic of it and how it's possible. To show the logic of it and to show, and they're showing you how you can become like that, which is wonderful, which is amazing. Yeah, very interesting. Anybody else? Anybody online? Something to say? Yeah, go, Eileen, darling, talk to me.
Since you're talking about the student-teacher relationship, I'm a devoted student disciple to you, but I'm not a good practitioner.
I couldn't hear your point. What?
I'm a devoted student, to you, a disciple. I really am. I mean, you're like my foundation, but I'm not a very good practitioner. I'm focused more on the philosophy, reading, and so forth. So
what do you mean you're not a good? So what do you mean you're a good practitioner?
I'm not a good practitioner. That's what I'm saying.
I'm asking you, how do you qualify as a bad practitioner? What do you do that a good practitioner wouldn't do?
Well, I think a good practitioner would probably meditate every day.
Why? What does that mean? It's a serious question.
Yes, no, I know. Well,
it's a serious question. And what do you mean by it?
Well, to look at the mind more directly. I mean, I'm trying.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait. Shush. Wait. Okay. So do you want to understand your mind?
Do I want to? Yes.
Yeah. And do you try to see your mind?
Oh, yes. No,
every
I do.
day, on the toilet, talking to people, going to the jobs. Well, then you're practicing. I don't know what you think practice is when you've got to have your eyes closed. I mean, how weird. What are you talking about? Meditation. I'm serious. What do you mean? It's such a cliche.
Yes, yes.
Okay, we need concentration so we can do the job even better while we're on the toilet and in the shop. Concentration is the thing we have to do. And then practicing also on your cushion, doing other things like making offerings, and that's fine too. They're necessary. They're like your push-ups and everything. But if you're trying to see your mind, and if what drives you to study the teachings and understand things is to see your mind and understand it, then that's called practice. If you can't be bothered seeing your mind and you like to gossip about people and complain and moan and criticize and be angry and jealous, then I agree, you're not practicing. So if you're doing all that, you better bugger off. I don't want to know about you. Are we communicating?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who else? Somebody else. Yes, darling.
What's the best way to
Bit louder.
building concentration? How do you suggest to do it?
Well, concentration is the function of this, is the goal of this meditation technique invented by these genius Indians 2,000, 3,000 years ago. And it's very skillfully laid out. The techniques are all there. If you want to learn it, you've got to find somebody to show you how to do it. But find a qualified person, because a lot of people, every second person says they do mindfulness, they haven't got a clue. So if you want to develop concentration, but I mean, if you want to do it, well, no, you want to do a little bit every day and have it part of your life, or you want to go off and do it seriously, which one do you want? What are you saying? So, I mean, to do it properly, you've got to give up sex, drugs, and rock and roll and go to the mountains for several years to get the final result. But if you just want to do it as part of your practice every day, that's fine. What do you do at the moment?
I'm practicing every day.
Well, darling, you do one?
I practice every day. Usually.
Doing what?
I usually like visualize Tara and just focus on that visualization.
Doing Tara?
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. So then I think, I mean, the concentration is very specific. So why don't you read, there are good people, many good people who teach it specifically. And her Western one, a person called B. Alan Wallace is a good, he's a skillful teacher on meditation, on concentration. And there are lots, I mean, there are lots of teachers, Tibetans, who give classical just commentaries on the practice. So you should look those up. So look up commentaries on how to develop shamatha. You know, and there are lots. So good, serious commentaries. They're probably quite technical, but they're all there for you. And there's some very marvelous commentaries available, published, trying to learn it seriously. But it's good, but this needs a personal teacher. You know, you really want to do serious more. But meanwhile, doing it just as you wish, doing Tara, visualizing, saying mantras, this is lots of blessings come from it. It's marvelous, more than just concentration. You need blessings as well. Do you understand me? And that brings that hugely. So be happy with that. But also just read. I mean, read some of Alan Wallace's books. He's very helpful. Yeah? Okay, darling. What else, people? Somebody else? And the other thing about a teacher, hang on. See, the thing about teachers too is that you know, many people on this planet, thousands, I think, have made a decision that Dalai Lama is their mummy guru, who's their root guru. Your root guru is like the name they give to your personal, your close one, but they've never met him. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to know the person. Many people even think of Lama Yeshe as their main Lama, and Lama's dead. So the real job in this sense of developing a relationship, which seems a bit more subtle, and this is where it's different from tennis, is in your own mind, in your daily practice. You know, I mean, Lama Yeshe died 40 years ago, but I still think of him in the present tense, because all your practices, especially in the Vajrayana, are framed in terms of when you do your visualizations, you visualize Tara as your Lama. You visualize you visualize so it's an incredibly rich thing that you're doing in your own mind. You are developing the relationship. It's not a question of sitting at that person's lap and having a conversation. I mean, Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa were my main teachers, and I knew, you know, all those years I knew Lama Yeshe, Lama Zopa until he passed away a few years ago. But I can count the conversations, personal conversations I had with them on two hands in 40 years that I knew them, 50 years that I knew them. So you don't need that. The work is done by you. That's a huge one. And it's all there structured in the formal practices of how to develop the ability to, when you visualize Tara, to visualize the Buddhas, you see them as your Lama. The teachings are very elaborate. And when you learn those things, that gives you this skill to develop this relationship and break down the ego and loosen the grip of ego and make you feel literally closer to the Lama, closer to the Buddha, and as a method for you to become that yourself. It's quite sophisticated, you know. Do you understand, people? You have to know those teachings and learn them. It's very skillful, psychologically very, very skillful, you know. In other words, if you're practicing tennis, then you have a poster, you have a picture of Federer on your wall, okay? And everything about his body, he's showing you exactly. He's the manifestation of the best tennis. And you want to be exactly like him, isn't it? So I remember when I was about 13 and I was obsessed with Jimmy Dean. You know James Dean, that actor, remember the old people? He was maybe I was 11. That's right. We all went to the drive-in. Oh my God. When I was 11, I think, the year he died, I was 11 in 1955. I was born in 1944. I was 11. And we all went to we used to go to the drive-in in our big old 1938 Hudson terraplane, the 9 of us in the family with the dog. We'd go to the drive-in cinema, the movies, you know, and we saw Rebel Without a Cause. And I remember, I can't describe, talk about guru. I was so obsessed with Jimmy Dean. I can't even describe. I cut my hair so I could look like him. I would steal my mother's cigarettes and stand in front of a mirror and try to replicate exactly how Jimmy Dean looked. Do you understand me? And then I wanted to be Jimmy Dean and I wanted to be Judy, his girlfriend. So I remember calling myself Judy. I went to this ice skating rink one Saturday, trying to get a boy. I called myself Judy, and I didn't wear my glasses because I thought I was ugly. Of course, I couldn't see a thing, and I couldn't skate. But I wanted to find a boy, and I was going to be Judy, and I was going to be Jimmy Dean. I wanted to be both, you know. And I even tried to look like him. I put a cigarette in my mouth and look exactly like Jimmy Dean. I can't describe. Well, that's how you're trying to do your Tara practice. Honestly, becoming oneness with Jimmy Dean. That's what we do with boyfriends, right? But then you choose some peanut, you know? So you did it. So that's why Pavanka Rinpoche says, choose your guru very carefully. Do you understand me? It's exactly the same. You're trying to use that aspect. I'm not trying to be silly. Do you understand me? So I was always yearning. First I was in love with God. I was always yearning to be oneness with somebody. So thank God I didn't want a bloody boy in my bed to be young oneness with them. I never wanted that. It was too scary. Look, we've got our dumplings. Come on, get to everybody. Come on. Look, dumplings, people. Look, we've got dumplings. Look. Cheers. And nearly ready to serve everybody. Come on. We've got our own little thing and everything. Look at this. Wow, I can't believe it. Little dumplings. Come on, grab everybody. We're going to bless. Oh my hong. Lovely. Serve. Lama sage, lama chode, lama get on take. Come on. Accept some. Accept, it's a bodhisattva vow to accept a person's gift, especially on a holy day like today. You have to eat them, give it away. But to accept the gift is very auspicious. We're all here. Share everybody, how kind. What's that lady's name? What's this lady's name? Yeah.
It's Kim.
Kim. Thank you, Kim. You're so kind, darling. So, okay, I'm going to enjoy my dumplings, okay? On New Year's Day, my momos. Oh, so good. Oh, delicious. Wonderful. Okay, enjoy, everybody.
I just did it. Is this the last sauce? That's okay. I don't
Susanna, where's yours, Rosanna?
Yeah, there's serving.
You need sauce.
There we go.
You need sauce.
Yes, we did sauce.
They need sauce, Susanna. Rosanna.
Yes.
Yeah, have some of my sauce. Yeah, I've got enough sauce. Here, have some of my sauce. I've got enough. You take the rest. You don't want more? No, that's it. I'm done. So then all these aspects, it sounds weird talking the way I'm talking, but it's very true. We're all yearning. As Lama Yeshe says, we're all dying for love. It's so true. But this is looking at the best aspect of ourselves, you know, not driven by attachment. I think we can understand. It makes such sense. This is why And see, the more also we understand the way ego works is because our minds are dominated by attachment, emotional hunger, and anger and resentment, we are completely cut off from everybody. Take some. Excuse me, give the man bloody 6 things. You never say no. You got a bodhisattva vow?
Yeah.
You don't even know them, obviously. You just broke a vow by saying no. You're supposed to give her the opportunity to create merit. So you say, thank you. Even if she's offering you poison, you say, thank you. But you don't have to eat it. Okay? God, we don't even, you say you got your vows, you're so holy, you don't even know them. Bloody hell, I tell you. Are we communicating, people?
Yes, yes.
Good.
Yes, we are.
So when we realize we are cut off from others, because it's like so corny, but we don't even know who we are. We're miserable. We identify all the garbage. We're tiny. We're like as big as a peanut. We have no self-respect. So then to find someone you can use to help you grow yourself, how miraculous, you know, how amazing, how marvelous. Not based on attachment, though. We need a person like that. We need a Lama Yeshe. Don't read Judy. Judy's there. I saw Judy. Don't read Judy. She's gone. Where's Judy? She just left. She was there before. Okay, people. So I feel happy to have met Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa. Not comfortable because they show you your mind and it's not comfortable. So good. Delicious momos. Aren't they good? What about you?
Oh, I ate mine.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm happy. This is my lunch. Any questions, people? Any questions? Yes, Scarlett.
Hello.
Yes, Scarlett.
When you say that they show you your mind, do you mean like they show you the anger, the greed, like the negative aspects of your mind? Is that what you mean?
Because okay, if you're learning to play tennis, okay, have you got any skill you've learned from somebody?
Yeah, lots.
Like what? What's the skill you've learned?
Well, communication skills,
Oh, okay, forget that one. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so never mind. No, basically, if there's a person in front of you.
like how to ride a bicycle, you mean like that?
No, wait a minute. So no, just to say a person's showing you how to make a cake and you're really seriously trying to learn the best way to do it. You've made an effort to do the right recipe and the teacher is wise and sees exactly what you've done and gently points out how you put too much sugar in it. Right? Well, they're showing you how to to be a cake maker, aren't you? So if we're looking at here, the Lama, their expertise is the mind. So in a communication with your teacher, the way, you know, by their response to you, and you are trying to learn from them, you're going to see your anger very easily. You'll see your mistakes very easily. That's a very common thing. Many people, you feel like, when I was around the Lamas, I felt like I was naked. I couldn't even be around Lama Zopa Lama. I feel I have a panic attack because they're so sort of like they're kind of a mirror in which you can't help but be reflected, and it really works like that. Do you understand me?
No, like, do you mean like they would show you if you were baking a cake with them that they would show you how frustrated you are? Like, do you mean like show you your mind that way? Because I get confused.
What I'm saying is you would see your own mind more clearly when you are around them. That's what I'm saying.
Because as you were saying that, I felt like my neighbor showed me my mind this morning.
Say it again. Who? What?
My neighbor showed me my mind this morning of how irritated I was.
Okay, good. You understand. That's exactly the point. That's exactly. So once you learn to know with your Lama, you do it with everybody. So you're exactly right. You understand the point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You got it. You're exactly right. Cheers. Oh, these are so good, these dumplings. Wow. Go.
You were saying, like, you know, to really go in depth, you have to, you know, give up all that stuff and then, you know, go to the mountains pretty much.
No, wait a minute. I didn't say any of those words. You just, what are you talking about?
Like, you know, to get that level of concentration.
If you want to get concentration.
Right. So, like, where does one actually go to do that? Like, how
to do what?
To what?
To do what?
To get that
to
level
get single point of concentration.
Yeah.
I don't believe you're asking this. You're a committed Buddhist with teachers, right? Aren't you?
I don't really have.
You're a committed
teachers.
Buddhist, though.
Yeah.
But haven't you not heard this entire topic of this conversation here?
No,
What's the
yeah.
topic of this conversation in this
Pretty
room?
much The importance of finding a teacher.
Okay, then why are you asking me the question? How you go about it? Why are you asking me that question? I'm not being sarcastic to you now. I'm showing you your mind now. Why are you asking me how to go about finding? How do I go about getting concentration? What's your own answer?
Probably find a teacher first.
Thank you very much, Jesus God. Why did you ask? What do you think the answer might be? What are you missing here? Are you seeing my point?
No, I understand.
Well, why did you ask it? I'm not being rude. I am now being rude to you. Why did you ask that question? What did you think I would say to you?
I don't know, just like a way to embark on that path, I guess. Like,
Tell me then what you do.
I guess first you have to find a teacher.
And what? And that's I'm asking you. What would you do? What do you tell me right now? This second, if you want to go off and do some concentration, what are you going to do?
Find someone that resonates.
And how are you going to do that?
I mean, you see who resonates with you.
No. Jesus wept. Yes, you were specific. Okay, you said concentration.
Yeah.
You didn't say being a Buddhist. You said concentration.
Right.
You mean you want to go off to the mountains and get single point of concentration? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying
much.
that?
Well,
Not pretty much. What are you saying?
more broadly, like the experience of the teachings in more depth, I guess.
Well, you didn't say that.
Right.
You said concentration.
Yeah.
Be precise, please. So start the conversation again. What's your question?
How does one go more in depth and practice these teachings in a fuller depth?
So again, I come back to my saying that what do you think you were talking about this whole time here? So what have you learned from this conversation in the room today?
You have to find a teacher first, pretty much.
Okay, then well, what are you going to do about it?
Find one.
Thank you very much. Keep going until you found the path and the teachers that make sense to you. I mean, there's no shortcut. You have to want it. You've got to be driven by if you're not driven by the wish, I want an ice cream, you'll give up and not bother. But if you're determined you want an ice cream, you won't give up and eventually you can get your bloody ice cream. Same here. So want it. That's why I said this woman this morning, 15 years of practice. So I go to all the teachers, but somehow she's skirting around the edge of it. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Honey child, if you want it enough, believe me, you'll find your teacher in 3 seconds. And your path, where you belong. Do you understand? Or not?
Yes.
How long have you been wanting to practice? How many years have you been trying to practice?
Only like one.
One, only like one. That's all right. It's better than nothing. So okay, you got to look at your life too. I mean, you got money and space and time to go off and go where you want.
Yeah.
How come? I mean, it's personal. How come you got enough money? How come you got money? You're rich. You done investments. What happened?
No, I mean, my parents support me, honestly.
They what?
Yeah, my parents support me.
And they're happy to support you financially
Yeah.
without you working.
What's that?
Without you having to work for it. What a
yeah.
fortunate person. Well, you should
I
be
know,
very
I
happy.
know, I'm very lucky, so I want to make the most of it, you know.
Well, then, okay. Then if you're really serious, what do you think you should do? What do you definitely think you should do?
Go and find a teacher.
No, but I mean, yeah, then, so just start joining courses. Go to camp. Like a friend on one of the women this morning, the Tashita one, she'd been in the investment world. She's got enough money. She stopped. She's now going to full-time study. I said, what does it look like? I'm going to do this 3 months retreat here. I'm going to do 2 months retreat there. I'm going to do this one course here. Go and put your money where your mouth is. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? I'm asking you.
I don't know.
Could you not share what you want? What do you want? What's your name?
Elijah.
You told me already, I forget. Tell me what you want, Elijah. What do you want, Elijah? What do you want? You've got to know what you want. And this is another whole discussion. We are too scared to even say what we want in our culture because it sounds like selfishness. You've got to know what you want. So what do you really want, Elijah? Seeing as you've asked the question, and it might be a bit personal, what do you want, Elijah?
Yeah, from the
Okay, so you want to find a method. You want to find a path. That means you want to commit to it. There's so many courses and so many teachers and so many retreats right now all over the world. Do some research and start making some decisions. Do you got a sense of where you belong in the Buddhist path? You decided on your yoga teachers. Are you a Gelugpa? Are you Kargyupa? Are you Sakyapa? Do you know?
Not totally, but I have the most experience in the Galoop, and I really
Have you done retreats? Have you done courses?
not much. No.
What I mean, how come you've had experience in it then?
Well,
Thank you so much. Now we have, look, now we're grapes and biscuits and cookies and chocolate. Look, look, look. Cheers, cheers. Keep going, Elijah, talk.
Just I've had the most teachings, and I guess received the most teachings, and
Okay, have you found teachers you resonate with in the Galupas?
not physically so much, but
What do you mean physically?
I don't know, like somewhat in person, but more so like online, just watching.
Yeah, no, but have you met some that you feel you like?
Yes, yes.
And do they run courses and retreats and things, some of these people?
Yes, yes.
Well, then have you bothered to find out where to go and how to get them?
Yes, I have.
And what happened?
Well, I think, you know, I know you know, Yangtze Rinpoche.
Go on.
I know he's having something in August this year.
Sorry, what?
In August, he's
What
having
about
a Vajrasattva retreat.
Where?
Institute, yeah.
Where?
In France, at Robina.
What do you plan to do?
I
What have you
guess
decided to do?
probably go.
What do you mean, probably your guess? Do you want it or not, Elijah? I mean, I'm not trying to be silly here. What's holding you back from saying, I want to go? In your mind, what holds you back? What holds you back, Elijah? Huh?
Probably nothing. I mean,
No, you have to know what it is that stops you from saying, I want to go. You're waiting for someone to give you permission. You want to make sure you're choosing the right person. You're afraid to commit. You're just being lazy. Which one? It's not even as if it's a 6 month or 10-year commitment. It's like one bloody a week. You got the money. You got the support. You want the Dharma. There's a Lama you like. He's running a retreat, and you haven't even been able to say, I want to go. You better know what you want, Elijah. Do you try to hear my point?
yes.
People, you know, I sound like a fanatic, self-centered maniac when I talk like this, but try to get the point. The trouble is you're such a fucking good boy. You want to make everyone happy and be a nice boy. I mean, you've got these good parents who are prepared to keep you. God Almighty, he's like he's won the lottery and doesn't know what to do with it. What do you do every day? What time do you get up? Now it's going to be embarrassing for you. What time do you get up?
Usually like around 8.
And what do you do when you get up? You wake up, what happens?
Usually I try to meditate.
No, don't try. It's bullshit. Obviously, you don't do it then. You say, I try. Clearly, you don't do it. You get out and you wake up, you space out and lie in bed. What am I going to do today? You get out of bed, you go pee, and then what do? Straight after you get out of bed, what do? Go have a coffee, right?
No.
What do you do? What do you do?
Well, some days I do meditate, and some days I don't.
And what do you do if you don't?
Um,
So you have no job to go to, no people to be responsible for, and no mortgages, and no dogs, and no cats, and no wives, and no people. What do you do for yourself all day, Elijah?
Sometimes just kind of playing video games.
I beg your pardon? In other words, pissing your life down the fucking toilet. Yes? Basically. Well, honey, you better pull your finger out. You have all the resources, you're intelligent, you've got a good person, you've got good qualities, and you have the money, and you're not even got enough balls that I want to do this retreat in August. Pull your finger out, Elijah, and get on with it. Are we communicating? Because you're pissing your life down the toilet. Waiting with God knows what else, I don't know what. Waiting with something to make you feel like I should make a decision. It's probably a week retreat. And in August, like 4 months to go, you could die. So you better start committing to something and be serious and get some discipline and take refuge and take vows and start being serious in your own life from today. Okay? What kind of meditation do you do, quote unquote? What's your bloody breath, probably? Yes?
Well, I was trying like some of the
Huh? Elijah, I think you better get my email address and email me, and I can help you get a daily practice and pull your finger out. How about that? Would you like that? Thank you very much. Better be careful. That's get my full name, Robina Courtin @mac.com. Email me if you want to, and I can help you get a daily practice, okay? and get you more serious. Would you like that, Elijah? Okay, darling. Did you hear my name? Oh, good. Now he's crying, and I'm glad.
I'm crying too.
Okay. Robina Courtin at mac.com. And I'll help you get to put yourself together and help you, because you have all the conditions except the will, except the courage in your mind, you know, because you're being a good boy here. Do you understand me, darling? You email me if you want to. Very welcome. And we can discuss. Okay. What else, people? I have a second chocolate. Give the man a chocolate. Come here, have a chocolate. All right. Come on, people. Any questions? Okay. Good. Any questions? Yes, darling.
So I've been practicing for about 1.5 years, and I found a teacher immediately that I really resonated with, and then I found out that he was dead already.
He was dead already.
but his wife is alive and
Wow.
is teaching, still teaching. And
Wow.
so I've been studying under her. It's been
Good.
amazing.
Wow.
But my question is that I sort of go into the retreats and stuff. I've jumped right into Mahamudra and some that I've learned later. It's all Kagyu tradition, and I've learned later that those are advanced teachings that
It's
normally
okay.
you go through Nandro.
No, but it's okay. Whatever.
So my question is, I feel the desire now to maybe go back to the start and do a Nandro. Or how important do you see that?
It's all it's very different in the different traditions. In the Gelugpa, we don't talk about like we have them all. We have 9 Nandros.
Okay.
9 preliminary practices, but it's not quite formally so structured. You must do your 9 before you do this. I mean, sometimes, you know, for example, one person might leap in to do the retreat 1 month, like at Courtin, we did a 1 month Lamrim retreat, just often do our Vajrasattva, become a monk, and then go off and do something. So each person's quite different.
Okay.
But when you understand the function of Nandros, basically, that's what you're preparing your mind. And the Nandro is so they do the more advanced practice, true. So it's like a bit like, that's why I again use a regular analogy, but it really works. It's like if you want to do sophisticated tennis, you've got to have a body that's really primed. Your body, if you know, do you understand my point?
Yeah.
You've got to go off and do lots of jogging and eating and nutrition, and it doesn't look like it's got anything to do with tennis, but it prepares you. Well, that's what the Nandros are. They purify your mind like crazy. They put atomic bombs under the delusions, and they remove the garbage from your mind so that when you do the advanced practices, something comes.
Okay.
So of course you should do all those, sweetheart. But if you have this teacher, go talk to her.
Sure.
Absolutely. You need them all. We all need them, no matter what level we're at.
Okay, great.
They're the ones that keep you fit mentally. That's exactly their function. Don't think of any other way. I mean, the sophisticated tennis is all there, but if you're not fit enough and able to hold the bracket in a certain way because you're not fit enough, you can't do them.
I have one slight follow-up question that's a little bit different, but I have I would call it a condition because I don't really think it's a problem, but my brain, I'm aphantasia. So it's impossible for me. I can't visualize anything.
Who cares? Nobody can. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's not a problem. It's normal. Don't worry about it.
Cool. So I could just not do the visualization part of the practices.
Most people can't visualize anything. I don't visualize anything. I just think it. Don't worry about it, dear.
Okay.
Come on. These are nice cookies. These ones are very delicious. Full of chocolate. What else, people? Nobody else? Anybody else? Nobody else?
No, I have a question.
Go on.
So, as you know, I'm a
Rob?
good girl, a people pleaser.
Give the
and
microphone, because
sometimes-
people are not hearing that thing.
So, you know, I'm one of these people that likes to be a people pleaser, be a good girl. And sometimes I question like my practice, if I'm just doing it to be a good girl, or if I'm really questioning my commitment.
The commitment to the path.
Yeah.
You mean your commitment to being a Buddhist? You mean you doubt being a Buddhist?
Yeah, I mean, I'm questioning
Whether you're a Buddhist.
Which is the motivator that I'm.
No, wait a minute. Are you questioning whether Buddhism is your path? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Okay, so you're a Buddhist. You feel confident you're on the path.
yes,
And you've chosen the right system and the right style of yoga sort of thing, quote
Yes.
unquote. And you've got your teachers.
yes.
So where's your problem?
So when I do my practice, sometimes I wonder, am I doing it to just be good?
Well,
Or
no
is
doubt
that-
you are, but there's not just the only part of you. when you realize you've got delusions and virtues, and you've got delusions until you realize emptiness, and that just will lessen gradually as you go. Of course, you should question, but it doesn't mean it's not absolute. How can it be? We've got both parts of our mind. You've got to make sure that you try to develop the virtuous one. That becomes, and go against the non-virtuous one. That's all you can do. Of course, the non-virtuous one is there, being a good girl. Of course it is. But then notice that, and then realize it's not going to help you, then do it for the right reason. I mean, just you keep adjusting your mind. You keep training your mind better. As the more you see your rubbish, the more you fix it. Of course, there's delusions there, Sheila.
Yeah.
That's normal. We're all human. But as you see it, you check it and go, oh, there it is, just attached to me, a good girl again. And notice it. And then make it, and then just change your thought and decide, okay, I'm going to do it and you say the positive words. They're not very real yet. They're not as real as the negative ones. You have to start somewhere. What choice do you have? Do you understand me? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you should be questioning. It's exactly right, but that's okay. So you change it. It's just thoughts. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And then rejoice in your effort and be happy. So finish it with being rejoicing, not just constantly questioning. That doesn't help. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now I'm full of lunch. 4:45, 4:45. What was it? 4:45, 4:45. Whatever. So any question? Any questions, anybody? Pranav, you have any questions?
I do.
Hang on. Wait,
No, Venerable. I do not have any questions.
You're okay? You're doing well?
I'm doing well.
I'm very happy. Good. Who's got a question? Who's got a question?
I do.
Which eye is this we're talking here?
Oh, online. Scarlett.
Go ahead, Scarlett.
Scarlett, go ahead, darling. And Scarlett never shows her face. I mean, she must be ugly or something. I don't know why, but she never shows her face. All these years I've known Scarlett, she doesn't show her face. Is it because you're ugly or what, Scarlett?
Venerable, sorry. I'm just not able to at the moment.
What, dear? I beg your pardon. I want to know why you never show your face.
I'm really sorry. Right now I'm just not able to. It's just I'm not able to.
Okay, one day you'll be ready to show your face. Put your lippy on and I'll be happy to see you. Go on.
I would like to know your thoughts about this because I've been trying to kind of understand it. So I read on an FMPT site about Lama Yishi talking about like emptiness and the ultimate goal, which is realizing non-self, non-duality, right? Which is like you're awakened where you don't have any concepts in you. And I thought,
sorry, what? Say it again. What, Scarlett?
You like enlightenment is where you are free of concepts. So my thought is, how are you going to function in society where it is concepts? And like, if you understand that everything is non-self and non-dual, then you can't act like a maniac in society where you are free of conceptual thoughts.
I understand. So, it's a bit like this. It's a bit like this, Scarlett. Let's pretend you're a mother, and let's pretend you have anger. Okay, let's pretend this. Okay, and you're a mother. So when your child doesn't do what you want, you get angry with them, right? To tell them what to do. That's typical. But let's say you work on your mind and you give up anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
But you see that your child is not listening to you when you speak nicely. So you say, no more chocolate. I told you 4 times, go to your room, and you shout at him. But this time you're just pretending to be angry, aren't you?
Okay.
That's how the holy beings function in the world. They manifest. They don't even need human bodies, darling. They've done the job. They're out of here. But they manifest in bodies looking like you and me, acting like you and me for our benefit. That's the answer.
Okay. I will say that. Thank you.
Good. That's good, darling. Who else, people? Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question.
Whose eye? Wait, which eye is it? Wait a minute.
Justin
okay, Zoom user, it says. I'm sorry. What's your name?
It's Justin. Hi.
Hello, Justin. Talk to me.
Lama Zopa and Lama Yeshe's kind of intentions or wishes for us in the West when they brought us the teachings. What did they kind of aspire for us to achieve?
I don't understand, Justin. What are you saying?
Well, it's kind of based in cultural appropriation, and I worry about that because I
Sorry, I
learn a
don't
lot.
understand what cultural appropriation, what does that mean? Sorry.
It's a very complex question.
No, keep it very simple, Dustin, dear. Keep out of your complex head and make from the simple part of yourself. What's your problem? What are you saying?
Did they want us to make a westernized version of Buddhism, our own Buddhism? Or are we taking upon ourselves Tibetan Buddhism?
What's cultural appropriate? Whatever those words are. Say what you mean by that. Simply speaking, give me an example of what you mean by that.
People's culture, stealing their ideas, stealing their language, making them your own.
If the reason is to misuse it and make profit out of it, that's appalling. But I mean, Buddhism came out of India, and then the Indians went to Tibet, and then the Tibetans made it their own, and then the Tibetans came out of Tibet and came to this crazy country and to England and everywhere else, and then we make it our own. But the fundamentals can't be changed. If virtue and love and compassion and attachment and anger don't have a culture, don't have a language, they're completely fundamental qualities of not even just humans, but of dogs and animals as well. So Buddhism is just a method for purifying the mind. Whether you say it in Indian language or Australian language or Australian Aboriginal language, then that's up to you. And the fact is, as the Dalai Lama says, don't just take on Tibetan culture. That's just a package. I'm not sure. That's why Lama Yeshe was so amazing, because he didn't talk like a Tibetan. He talked like a person in my culture, because he had the ability to have understood those words beyond their cultural packaging. Cultural packaging is very superficial, like male or female or all the rest. They're just very superficial packages. The fundamentals are the mind, the actual mind of goodness and badness. That's what we're just talking about.
Okay, good. So they express, it's cool, it's in English. You don't need to remain in Tibetan and make it yours.
And if you think you do, then you haven't really taken the essence. I mean, that doesn't mean the Tibetans haven't done it well, and they have. And so, but you don't need, I mean, that's the point. You don't need to be Tibetan or even speak Tibetan to become enlightened. There's no question. Of course you don't. I mean, if you did, that means that's where, for example, like when I first met the Dharma, and it was, and indeed the Tibetans were quite patriarchal, very clear. And I thought, well, if Buddhism is in its nature patriarchal, what the hell am I doing with it? But when I even first listened to the teachings and realized it's got nothing to do, especially when I heard the view of karma, that my consciousness comes from life to life, and I take packages called male or female or dog or whatever based on the actions I do, then it's not even about the shape. It's not even about female or male or anything. It's about the mind itself, which is beyond those things. And that is what is absolutely shared by every being in the universe. It's all about that. And it's not about that. It's just patriarchal bullshit. I'm not interested. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Good, darling. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anybody else? Time to go home, I suppose. I can't see if it's 3 or 4. What does it say? 3. Oh, okay. 1:30 to 3. It's only 90 minutes. Okay. Have we had enough then? Me shouting and yelling and swearing
We've never.
So are we communicating here?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I'm so glad. That's good. Okay. Well, I'm glad we had the dumplings, aren't you, Sheila?
Yes.
And the nice chai.
Yes.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yes. Very good.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kim. You're so kind. Amazing, sweetheart. And that's what a party is. And the chocolates as well. Thank you. Okay. I've made myself tired. So I don't know what else to say, really. I think it's enough. I think that'll do. We have to, like I was saying to dear's kind Elijah, we have to know what we want. And I mean, this sounds so silly to say that, but I think because we're so driven by fear, what people think, and indeed laziness, can't be bothered, do it later, we wander off in our head, but especially this attachment, I think attachment to what people think. Most of us behave nicely because we're afraid of upsetting people. Very simple. It doesn't mean you should misbehave. But we have to have the courage to develop the courage to know, what do I want? I mean, this is where, You're in a relationship that doesn't work, But we're even sometimes, I think in general, this attachment to being seen as a good girl, and it doesn't mean just to be a people pleaser. We all got it. We've all got attachment to being seen because that's how we verify ourselves, because we're all walking around like half people because of delusions. So because we're so all the time referring who we are, what we think, to what's the feedback from us, from the outside world. So if we're too scared to even look at what we want, So when Lama Zopa says, like, everything exists on the tip of the wish, it sounds kind of cute. But technically, from the Buddhist psychological point of view, it's actually true. There's one of the states of mind that's called intention, not motivation, but literally I will, volition, like what we call will, I want, may I, I will. That drives absolutely everything. I mean, even just, we don't think it's that. I mean, even if you scratch yourself when you get itchy, your mind played the role of intending to scratch. Your hand would not have gone there. We think, oh, that's just instinct. No, your hand wouldn't have gone there if you hadn't had the thought. If your attention didn't go to the scratch and then know the habit, no, the solution was to scratch it. Intention is there in your mind every millisecond, and it is the thought, the conceptual thought, that drives every tiny decision we ever make. Any move we make, anything we do is driven by intention. And then, of course, based on motivation, based on a million other factors that enable you to do the thing. But you've got to have the thought, what do I want? May I? And if you don't have that, you will never do it. So we can have may I, but we're not strong enough in it. If you really know what you want, I mean, this is where I can be seen in my life. I can see it in my family, in my life. It could be seen as very selfish. It can be. And we're very scared of that. We don't want to be seen to be selfish. Always think I've got to think of others. And it's true. But you've got to know, what do I want? What do I want? That's what drives, and that's if you're very selfish and based on self-centeredness, you will get everything you want. There's no question. But this is also for virtue, So then and the other thing is, then we think, oh, I want to go to this retreat in August. Okay, for Elijah, it can't be the money because his mummy and daddy are happy to help him. But let's say you're busy with a life and you hear this Lama giving a course in France in August, but you've got a life, you've got a job, you've got 2 kids and a hubby and a budget. Then you see the retreat, and the first thing that 99% of us will do is, oh, you won't even think, may I do that? You just go, oh, no, it's impossible. I can't do that. So you don't even go there. But what we have to understand is this. It doesn't cost a penny to say, I want. You're not spending a penny, but you've got to say it first. You say, I want to go to that retreat. What we do is we see the retreat, and then immediately we see the obstacles, and then we conclude, oh, I can't do it. Well, you're finished. You just cut yourself on your knees, You've got to say, I want it. And then the next step is, and then you see if it's possible. It might not be, but you've got to give it you've got to give it a chance. You've got to say, may I want. Now, Dalai Lama always says, this is what motivation means. Always aspire to do what is most beneficial. Always want to do what is most beneficial. And if you can, he says, long-term better than short-term. Of course, that means Buddhahood here, but forget that. But just even that principle, then I've got to say it first. So then, okay, then you think, well, I don't know what's most beneficial. Well, we're not being asked to do that. You're just saying, may I do what is most beneficial? So my sense is it's like this. I say this to everybody. It's like you're on a road, and the road is your life, okay? It's your life. So then what you're saying, I don't know where the turnoff is. I don't know where to go next. Well, what can you do? You wake up in the morning and there you are here today in New York with that husband and that child and that job. And then you've got, and maybe there's that retreat in August. You're not sure. So you'll say, I want to do what's most beneficial. You'll say, if it is beneficial, may I do it? So then you think, if I say that every day, my feeling is that thought, which is so powerful, may I will, may I want, that will nourish the karmic seeds that you've planted in the past that will ripen in front of you one day as what is most beneficial. Oh, there's the turnoff, It's very dynamic. But just to watch it and observe and hope something will happen to make the retreat come, that's too passive, you know. It's like saying, oh, I want an ice cream. Well, just sit here and wait for the ice cream to come. No, you got to know, and we're very good at this when it comes to attachment. We'll find a way to do it. But we've got to have the courage to say, I want. So that's why I said to Elijah, what do you want, Elijah? He says it. He's not quite clear. He says it. He wants to do the Buddhist one, you know, but doesn't quite know how to go next. It's not strong enough in his mind, perhaps. And it's all of us the same. I want. And then we're afraid of even saying it. Oh, I couldn't do that. We immediately see hubby's going to be upset. The kids will be upset. The boss will be upset. No way in the world we're even too scared to want it. You've got to say it first. I want. Then you see if it's possible. And that's with every decision we make, you know. Much more intentional about everything we do, not just float along, you know. Be much more intentional. And then be patient and nourish those karmic seeds, you know. Are we communicating, people?
Yes.
So, you know, you might be living in a house with a husband and 2 children, and it might be the right decision to leave that family. That's a huge, I mean, the pressure from the world on making that decision is enormous. No way in the world that anybody will approve of you. So you've got to have courage to do what you know is the right thing when other people won't approve. And even sometimes just vaguely the world. We're not even sure who's not going to approve, you know. So we're too scared to even consider. So we hold ourselves back, you know. Just to say that. Have courage every day. So aspire every day. I'm not sure what is most beneficial, but may I do what's most beneficial. This is the most tremendously powerful thought you could ever have. It'll inform all your choices. Have that wish, you know. Not even sure what it looks like. Doesn't matter. It'll go in and it'll drive you and it'll inform your choices, I promise. So we finish with that, I think. May I do what's most beneficial. May I make the right choices. May I do what's most beneficial. I mean, that thought nourishes the seeds in your mind already. I mean, if you say every day, may I get the job with the most money, you're guaranteed you'll do it because that's the thought. That'll govern your decisions, you know. So may I do what's most beneficial. Okay? Okay, everybody. Just some things, a few things that have worked for me. Okay, goodbye. Jangchup Sem Chogram Boche, Ma Ke Panam, Ke Guchi, Ke Panyam Pame Payang, Gong Ne Gondu, Paba Shog, and we have courage and never give up and never give up and never give up. Okay? Everybody, all the time. Thank you, Marlene. Goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
I'm going
you.
to close my computer, you'll still be there. Okay.